Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League, and it's time to dive into another matchup here today. We've got Florida Mayhem going up against the Boston Uprising. Big, important match for Boston, especially as they try to get into playoffs. Florida technically kind of just hovering around the bottom at the moment, but it's not looking good for them in their hopes of advance.
Certainly not. If you take a look at the standings for these two teams, Mayhem sits at 18 to 1-4 and -7. Given the map differential, it's very unlikely, even with a win here, they will make playoffs. For the Uprising, however, it will equalize the score of the win and put themselves in 3-3 and nearly equalize their map differential as well. With the Fuel coming up next week, which is a realistic chance for the Boston Uprising to win two series in a row, there's a chance, there is a road to playoffs here, but that map differential is going to be really what sets it apart. So winning is not enough. You've got to win in dominant fashion here.
That they do. Mayhem cannot afford to drop a map if they want to keep their hopes alive, so need to come out here and try to get a 4-0. Let's see if they can do it as we welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, the Florida Mayhem.
Florida has really come into their own this stage. It started out a little bit rocky. We had a lot of substitutions that in some cases felt unnecessary or even random at times, but at the end of the day, now they know who their specialists are. You've got Tavik, who comes in as the May specialist. He'll play other off-meta flex heroes, and you'll have Apply, the standard Brigida player here. He's filled that role. Zephyr's come in more as the main diva, and BQB holding it up with the Zarya and the Sombra when necessary. The team has leveled up, but still results not looking too great so far.
Yeah, it has not. I mean, they've had some really good showings from some of the newer members, Apply, and of course McGravy, but it will be Zephyr starting things off. Like I said, cannot afford to drop a single map here in this series. They have to do it to go through the Boston Uprising. Let's see if they can pull it off. So we welcome their opponents to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Boston Uprising.
I feel like Boston has done it again. You know, they've found a lot of new talent, a lot of it from the tier 2 scene, coming in here as a team that has identified young talent, non-famous talent from different parts of the world. You've got Color Hex from New Zealand, you've got Fusions, the British player, Aim God, one of our stars from Contenders Korea, and they have put this team together. Multinational, a starting 6 here, as you'd expect, the normal one here with Fusions and Color Hex, but I gotta say, you know, this is a team that people had a lot of question marks about because of the background of the players, not really Overwatch League players coming into this roster overall, and yet they are finding success. Are they at the top of the standings? No, but this is a team that if they win this match and their Dallas match, certainly could make that road to playoffs possible.
Yeah, and it's all about that contrast when you compare it to who they're about to play against, the Florida Mayhem, a team that does have a lot of very well-known names from the past, from the Apex days, to Vic getting his start back in the day alongside Reinforce when he was a pro player. You know, these players are known, have been known for quite some time, but they're not finding success. And when you compare that to the Uprising, these players that kind of just popped up, they grabbed them. Everyone says, you know what, I don't think Boston's gonna be that good this year. Well, here we are. The second season, 2019, and they are doing it again.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Florida Mayhem's also doing it again, but
for Florida, you know, I mean, this is a team that has legends on it, right? I mean, players that have been known since the beginning of time, mixed with some new blood, and it's the new blood that's coming in to try to be the glue that holds these players that come from different teams, mostly Korean teams, together, and it's a contrast that I don't know is working out just yet.
Well, let's see where we're headed here as we take a look at the map set presented by Toyota. Will be Busan to kick things off, followed up by Nambani, then back to Horizon, and round things out on Dorado. If we can't make it to a fifth and final map, we'll have to find out. No Saya player here worth mentioning.
Yep, they're not going to try that again. And we will see BQB on the Sombra. That forces Zephyr to sub over to the Zarya. Diva and Zarya very specialized roles right now, so that kind of flex does hurt you.
Well, already going to be meeting right here on the high ground, but heal back from Florida Mayhem just going to be shifting over on the flank towards the point. Very non-committal so far.
Yeah, BQB also not able to really find any damage, tracked down by Blase, and Had to translocate away, not even 20% of an EMP. Pretty unacceptable.
Hagapan taking a lot of damage. Gonna build up for that Transcendence. We'll get Tom back up. Florida pushed back away from the point at the moment, applying with a sliver of HP remaining, trying to get out of there with his life. Is able to do so for now. Boston will get the initial cap. As I say that, however, Kellick's gonna be taken down and Note popped out of the mech. So a good turnaround for Florida Mayhem and potential to get this very fast flip. QB drops down onto the low ground, EMP available, but holds it as the Transcendence comes out. Now we'll invest it on the back end. Grab comes through. They lock him up, they clean him up. That's gonna be Florida getting the flip. Only 24% gonna be snagged by Boston.
BQB was always most famous for building EMPs quickly. A bit of a slow start there on that first attack, but did build it eventually. You can see the value of how efficient an EMP can turn a fight. And he's once again gonna lurk in the background, threaten the tank line. Those hacks are important, but the EMP charge is even more important for him to build so they can win these fights, hold this point, hold efficiently.
Not gonna have a Transcendence for this. Grab the color Hex has ready. They throw it down. They'll push into the back. Fusion's just gonna be picking up a triple kill casually, a double off the Fire Strike alone. 4 kills come in, the flip is back in their favor. Florida Mayhem barely able to tie the score.
It's very easy for Color Hex to get a grab like that when there's no Diva on the other side, and that's what's missing here. That's the trade-off when you are running the Sombra on Busan, is that the enemy Zarya is always going to have, so to speak, right of way, always having that advantage, always having the opportunity to put the grab on their terms, and that's certainly what we saw there. Boston Uprising capitalizing on that moment perfectly.
Both teams up onto that high ground. The drop down comes through. Swan gonna get stunned up with the Zarya bubbles coming to help keep him alive. Sound barrier out from Florida Mayhem as they try to hold on. They manage to get rid of Fusions. Disrupting that front line for Boston. Apply, isolated away from his squad, but still not getting taken down. They just cannot find the kill. Shatter comes out from Swan. Not gonna lead to too many kills, but Blase will finally fall. Flip not quite there for them yet. Halfway, Boston Uprising just staying in as long as they possibly can. Another EMP gonna be dumped in. 4 members gonna be hacked out. Fusion's dead. And basically, as soon as he arrived back into the fight, not getting an opportunity to use that Earth Shatter. The flip comes through. Mayhem now at 30%.
Still really good for Boston, though. They forced a lot of ultimates for the Mayhem. If AimGod had held his ultimate, they'd be in an even better spot. But I think it's his ultimate that actually allowed them to stick on the point that long. And with EMP being gone now, you feel really comfortable on the approach here as the Uprising, because in the longer fight with the sound barrier, ColorX will get the grab, and he will be able to use it here.
Zephyr is going to be looking for a time to line this up. The wall comes up, goes around the side. Nope, takes away Zephyr's grab, so not going to be able to find that one. Apply now going to be taken out. Transcendence after Mahanga, but not enough to keep him alive, and Chris goes down right before.
And this is the difference. This is the difference maker, right? Note on the Diva means that you can't just flank a grab like that. There's always going to be the risk. And it comes up again here. We talked about how it's easy for ColorX to toss his in. The opposite side of the coin is Mayhem cannot make the play with the grab they needed. AimGod gets to hold the Transcendence now. They've got more healing. It's going to be a tough attack here for Florida. Seems pretty unlikely they can flip it.
Yeah, they just would swap over onto the Ana here for Hago, but no ultimates available. They're pushing forward. The grab's going to be coming in from Color Hex. Locks him up. Apply gone. Bomb in. And we'll get to see the explosion right at the end as Chris gets taken out, but they're off the point. It ticks down 163 as Boston take this first round on Mecha Base.
BQB became famous in Season 1 of Contenders Korea. He was a champion with X6, world's fastest Sombra ult building player, but nowadays that was in a different meta where Sombra was played on every map, and since then players have learned this is a different caliber of tournament we're playing in here, and even though he's making an impact with a lot of these EMPs, he's not able to do to Boston Uprising here what he did in the grand finals against O2 Ardian. It's a different time frame. And with Zephyr on the Zarya and a Diva-less comp, they're losing the Zarya matchup against a veteran Color Hex. And Boston Uprising is just playing to their meta, which is the overall meta of this tournament, rather than trying to get fancy with the Sombra. They're countering BQB.
Hagapan again taking so much damage just on the initial approach. Push forward coming through. Ingon nearly taken down, getting harassed by BQB in the back line. Will be kept safe. And again, Boston gonna have the inside track on the point, trying to get that first cap as it unlocks in 5 seconds. Florida starting to approach. Swan up into the front. It's a lot of damage, has to peel back alongside Zephyr as they both nearly get taken out.
Nice hack onto Color Hex, but he's able to back away. does stay alive here, maintains the energy, but the point controlled here means the EMP becomes more and more terrifying by the second.
Shatter's up for fusions. Drops it in. That's just going to be Zephyr. Solo Shatter coming through. They scoop up the kill. Fusion's still going to be going low. EMP gets thrown in. Fly taken down, but they do find the Reinhardt. 4 members still going to be hacked out as Blase is eliminated as well. Could just be another very fast flip for the Mayhem squad.
A bit of an aggressive moment there for Fusions. Wants the isolated target, but they still don't have the support ultimates needed to shut down the EMP.
Drop down Hagapun, trying to get rid of Aim God. Transcendent's going to be coming up from both sides. Omnic folk dance, as we like to call it here, on the point. Graviton Surge going to be thrown in by Color Hex, locking him up. The sound barrier's there, but it's still not enough to keep Zephyr alive. It's going to be Swan going for a ride as the pin takes him well off the point. Boston Uprising maintaining control the entire time, never surrendered it over to Florida. Now they're moving up past 50%.
Yeah, really staggered was the defense of Florida, and Boston Uprising came in, reunited with those respawns. Now they've got another Shatter. They have this choke point controlled. The big play here is going to be Kelix. Can he sound barrier this EMP when it's ready? If he can do that, Boston Uprising wins this fight on the point and wins the map 2-0. That's the ideal scenario. For BQB, the job is to find the Lucio. Easier said than done. Look at Kelix hiding here.
Yeah, BQB trying to get the hack there on Aim God. Doesn't manage to find it, but Hagapun's going to be the Zenyatta getting taken down in this fight.
This is a huge, huge overextension.
Okay, EMP's absolutely massive. Catches everyone, but now they need the kills on the back of it. 2 going to be found. Swan traded back, now 3. That's going to be the fight there for Florida Mayhem. BQB lining it up, catches absolutely everyone. Might get taken down by Kelix, but no, Chris comes in from behind, gets the right click.
That's the overextension that's going to give the flip of the point over to Mayhem. And it's Kelix who was hiding, but then it emerged when they got that opening kill into Hagapun. They thought, that's enough, we've won this map. But BQB turns it around. Either way, still a huge advantage for the Uprising. They weren't playing for the map win, they were playing for ult advantage. And they certainly have that now as they approach the point. With both support ultimates nearly online here, well, this is going to be very difficult for Florida Mayhem to turn around with Zephyr's grab.
Yeah, Chris still quite some ways away from his own sound barrier being ready to go. Zephyr needs to nail the grab. Try to farm some other ults off of that perhaps here if they want to elongate this map. Only 33%. Grab's going to be coming down. That's a bit of a whip there, but now they will pile in as Swan does get ground up. The pin is there for Fusions to take him out. Attacking on a Kelix. Cannot use the sound barrier at the moment, but maybe doesn't even need it. We'll have to wait and see. Hagapun going to be taken down. Boston in onto the point, nearly having the cap now apply, going to be eliminated. BQB nearly has the EMP ready, but he'll be eliminated as well, and we should just tick this all the way up to 100. Shatter comes down, they'll get rid of the Wrecking Ball. OT will tick away, but no one else can tag in. Boston Uprising, they take boost on with a 2-0.
They played the more standard. They knew BQB on the field would likely be on the Sombra. Nice plays overall. Patience on the side of the Boston Uprising gets them to 2-0.
Yep, very good start for them, leading 1-0 here in the series. Let's see what Florida can do when we come back for the break for Hybrid.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by OMEN by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. After the community discovered a crazy trick on Hollywood with Zarya and Lucio, the Atlanta Reign put it into practice against the Paris Eternal. After taking the point and beginning the payload push, Masa decided to push Defran where no pro Zarya has gone before.
Who came up with that? Was it a coach? Was it you?
I think we actually saw it on someone else do it on Reddit first. And we just like, that, if we can pull that off in game, it's gonna be so cool. So we just went for it.
It was so cool when they pulled that off. But hey, coming back into this series right now, Boston Uprising leading 1-0 at the moment. Florida Mayhem need to stabilize as we move forward into Numbani to try to tie up this series.
Yeah, we'll be Numbani, so no May shenanigans on this map. It's just not realistic to expect that you're going to get value out of May on a map that's so wide open, especially on A, whereas Kings Row, you have a lot more narrow choke points to work with. No substitution of Tvik, and we will see this map that both of these teams are very close in scoreline on at the moment. Florida Mayhem 2 and 3 to Boston Uprising's just barely above 3 and 2. So kind of the reverse there. Advantage Boston, but that's what you expect given the score lines for these two squads. Sombra can be run here, but instead they're going to put Zephyr back on a more of his main role. He did ever since he was on Cloud9, the D.Va, and BQB on the Zarya. Mirrors here, minus the Winston, which is always the defender's advantage here.
Pushing their way up. Already though, forced off that high ground, has to use the leap to come back up top. They'll drop right back down. Builds up halfway. Now going to be stunned, takes a lot of damage. Meanwhile, AimGod finds a pick. Chris just going to be taken out. Already Boston in onto the point, starting to get towards that first tick. Zephyr will drop down to try to contest this one, but before he can even make it back up to his squad on the high ground, gets popped out and will be eliminated. So Tick's rolling through, and now it's just desperation as they string in one after the other onto the point just to buy a few paltry seconds off of that time bank.
Boston just ignored Swan. They ran up there. You know, Swan dove in on the Winston.
Everything he built's gone now.
Everything he built is gone and worthless. But he comes in right, gets bubbled, starts zapping with the Tesla gun, and Boston Uprising forces the fight away from him onto the point, and Florida Mayhem doesn't respond well. He builds a ton of ult charge, but that damage doesn't matter unless he gets a primal or it's able to set up a pick. He does neither. And Fusion's with much less ult charge at the time ends up being low impact in this fight, but now he's got 2/3 of a shatter. In the ensuing longer fight, he builds it.
And that's why they have to give them so much room right now. Normally would love to contest at that first corner. Color Hex trying to get the high ground. Sitting up here on the bus. Slop those right clicks into the back, instantly bursting his way up to 90 energy, now 100. Grav just a couple more hits away from being online. And I mean, Mayhem at this point, there's nothing you can do but just show as much respect as humanly possible to line up a Boston, but that's gonna be the grab coming through, bombs going up into the air as they look for the pickoff. Note gets a double. Swan and Apply gonna be eliminated, Zephyr's knocked out. The cleanup coming through, Hagapoint only able to answer for one as they glide into B.
This is a new thing that other teams have emulated from NYXL. I mean, everyone's been doing it for a while, but people are really good at it now. It's just a kind of a learning moment for everyone, I think. We saw this in our previous series with Ben Best, in fact, who was setting this up for Finzi. Now we're seeing it with Fusions here, and Note. The Reinhardt is actually the hero here because without that charge connecting, the bomb is worthless. It's a combo that Meko and Mono pioneered at the beginning of this round.
Rallies out from both sides, pushing forward. Swan in such an awkward position. Does not get isolated, does manage to stay alive. Bombs going into the back from Zephyr to try to find a pick, but he's not going to get anything. Sound barrier used by the Florida Mayhem are going to be stabilizing. And AimGod's just a bit too late to keep Fusions alive. Now the shadow comes in from Swan. They start looking alive as the Mayhem start pushing forward, finding a couple kills. They're searching for these staggers. Seems like they will be able to get Color Hex as he goes ahead, disjoints himself from the rest of the squad to allow them to exit safely.
And these last two self-destructs from these two divas, completely different styles. Zephyr using his bomb to reposition Boston Uprising so they could cut the team in half. Notes used his with Fusions to get a combo. In this particular case, Zephyr's bomb ends up being more valuable because he's able to win a team fight with a single ultimate. Very well played here for the Florida Mayhem, finally putting a stop to this long-lasting push for the Uprising.
So very far forward, make their way back safely around the corner. This is where they want to play. cart will inch just a little bit more. Fusion's getting some good damage there onto Swan. Now Transcendence is going to be in from the Hagoput, keeping his team alive. Grab comes through. 100 energy built up for BQB, looking good. Sound barrier comes out from Kelix, but he can't keep some of these frontline members alive. Fusion's and Blase again going to get picked off.
This is the hardest part of Numbani, is getting through this choke and then going around the corner, especially in this meta. In other metas, you'll dive, you're a little bit more mobile. But in this meta, when you commit a sound barrier like that, you're feeling like this is the opportunity. This is when we're going to break that barrier and get through, go around the corner. When you fail, that ultimate missing means so much time bought for the Florida Mayhem, because they're just generally, by positional advantage, always going to be more ult efficient. So it hurts that Kelix had to use that barrier and fail.
Well, a couple ultimates getting ready to come online. Bomb Shatter and the rally here for Mayhem. Uprising on the other side. 4 ultimates ready to roll, including that Transcendence. Grab gonna be thrown in, Collex catches them. Do not take that one away. Chips passing in the night, the bombs come down. Note finds 2, however. It's gonna be Zephyr walking away with nothing. Boston Uprising, they finally have broken the defensive line and they start advancing towards the end. You remember, they drained a lot of time away from the bank, but there's still 3+ minutes in the clock.
It was a huge fast take on A, and I don't think there's going to be much stagger here.
We'll have to wait and see. Rally coming out, Shatter going to be used, but doesn't really find too much from Fusions. Transcendence now out, Hagoput keeping everybody else topped up as they desperately try to stop this card from moving that final 1 meter. Shatter comes in, catches him in the back, including Aim God. Almost gets taken down, but he's able to stand up, gets that Transcendence rolling through. Barrier does come in, BQB throws down the grab, locks him up. Note going low, almost gets popped out of the mech, but he makes it back around the corner, and Swan gets punished for overextending. Now the responding grab comes in from Color Hex, and that's gonna be the cleanup. This should be the finish here for the Boston Uprising. They drained the clock down by about half, but it's still 2:31
Some
for
great
Boston.
heroics, though, on the other side from Swan. That Shatter nearly gave them a defense there. It wasn't enough in the end. Really good heals coming through on the side of Aim God.
It's still very healthy time bank. Let's see what Florida can do on their attack when we come back. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Boston Uprising able to pick up 231 for their time bank. It was an admirable defense from Florida Mayhem. Was looking very good in that choke just past point B, moving into the final stretch. But there's just so much time for Boston that they couldn't strip it all away.
No, certainly not. And, you know, Boston Uprising are going to do something that has had very middling success here in the first stage of Overwatch League. I keep calling it rounds, but it's stages. Which is to run Reinhardt defense here with Fusions on that. And BQB is looking for the composition. He wants to identify, is this a Rein, is this a Winston? He's able to see it cost them time, but they're actually going to try to crack this point potentially here with a Wrecking Ball, and this can really disrupt the setup, especially with a Reinhardt. If he gets knocked low, he can't jump back up. It becomes a 6v5 on the high ground.
Well, already pushed his way there onto the low ground, but has to slowly wrap back around the staircase. In the meantime, Swan's been taken down. Zephyr will get stunned up, pops the adaptive shield, but body blocked out of the hallway. A little awkward positioning, and sad little hamster's just going to go off the side.
You know, they missed the high five on this one. You know, the timing was off. They looked to collapse there with Zephyr as he swings around the other side, but the timing is off. Now he's going to swap over to D.Va, and this is already a time bank disaster. You have to think about the idea here. It was good for the Florida Mayhem, but the execution is off, and now down on ults, down on time. They're going to try to match by swinging on the right side here and forcing Boston onto the low ground. Early bubble onto Color Hex. That's a good thing for the Mayhem.
Could save the time bank, make it less of a disaster, as you say, if they can get this on the first take. But
wow, the
fusion's almost there.
The long wraparound here, too.
Yeah, pushing into the back room. Makes their way here onto the point. Note contesting just on the corner there. Drop down comes through. Fusion's taking a lot of damage, pushing forward. Give the hammer over to Swan, but both Reinhardt's gonna be bursting back up, and now he's gonna be isolated. They're collapsing it onto him, and as he tries to go for the pin, will be taken down in the side room. Shatter comes out.
It's a good one.
And yeah, it's a pretty good one, but he got no one else really to block it other than apply.
Yeah.
It's gonna hit a lot of people, and it did.
The wraparound there for the Florida Mayhem, they weren't confident that Swan could contest Fusions, and rightly so. Fusions has positional advantage, and it's just statistically the better Reinhardt right now. But when you look at the long wraparound, it also protects their support line against Note, who's been known to get in the back line and kill those players. But the trade-off is that it costs a lot of time to get all the way around there, and it failed, so they have to do another push just to get to the point. And now we're looking at a minute and a half away from a full hold here.
Yeah, you can see Chris trying to go for that boop off the high ground, but almost just gets taken out. That Color Hex just tracking him down. Runs out Lucio heavily. Second tick getting ready to come through from Florida Mayhem. Rallies out from Applies. He tries to survive. Shield up. Does block a lot of this damage coming through from Color Hex. Manages to sustain. Second tick though still not going to be grabbed. Bubble comes in from Color Hex. Allows Fusions to push up into the front lines here. So many ults being held on to. Nope, going to be eating BQB's grab now. The grab out in response from Color Hex locks him in. Nope's got the bomb off top. They push him to the side with the Sound Barrier Shield. Helps keep the members of Mayhem alive. But can they get over onto the point? Zephyr's bomb going to be coming through. Manages to find a double kill. It seems like finally they will be able to break through. The time bank not going to be the healthiest. But as long as they get that cap on A, they bump up the time bank a bit more. They keep their hopes alive.
These two Korean players have never been on the same team before, and now that they're working together, the communication is good in terms of making that play happen after the shatter, calling it out. You can't make that play happen if you're reacting to the shatter. That's too slow. You actually have to communicate, I'm going to go for this shatter in order for the D.Va bomb to follow up that clean. Very well played for the Mayhem. Time bank's not great here. 15 seconds is already going to be worse, very likely, but still better than getting full held, I suppose.
See, this isn't the freedom, though, that Mayhem had on their defense. They couldn't push up like this. Shatter comes in from Fusion, so they can try to go for the spawn camp. They'll clean up both the supports. And Morris Swan will also be taken down. So now Boston just going to be parked up right outside their doors.
You're absolutely right about that. And the tough part about dealing with this almost spawn camp position that Boston Uprising has is that there's just no initiation for the Mayhem. Aim God's got the answer to a grab. The grab angle is not good for Mayhem. It's around a corner. And you don't always know where Note is standing when you're the attacker here as to where that grab's going to get eaten potentially by the defense matrix.
Bubble going out, 100 energy here for BQB. Be doing a lot of damage. Aim God going to be the first casualty, so already a good start. Grab this time going to be landing. No, unable to take that one away. And the kills start spilling forward for Florida Mayhem. They can finally start getting this cart rolling through. If they can make decent time, basically not allow this cart to stop now, they could bump up the time bank enough where it's respectable to try to go for the finish.
Hagapun comes up with a lot of damage there and is able to, you know, hold on to this trance. So they have the way to stick to this cart and contest for B. And getting a clean push here will give them a time bank. They need to maybe finish the map. Remember, the toughest part is around that corner like we were talking about on Boston Uprising's attack. Boston not going to make it easy, though. Going to drop down here and fight around this corner.
Yeah, just taking every opportunity they can possibly find to fight. Zephyr throws the bomb into the back this time, not going to be accompanied by a shatter, so Swan not going to be able to set up for a big play, but still manages to find the first kill as Fusions gets taken down. Hagapun sustaining his team with that transcendence. now going to get popped out. The front line for Boston Uprising crumbling. That will be the push rolling through. So 219, so already a lesser time bank, but if they can keep moving, this could be good.
2 times in a row, Zephyr with the bomb in this choke point here. Once on the attack, once on the defense. It's a displacement bomb. It can seem like it's random at times to see a D.Va toss a bomb out like that, but it's absolutely not. It's a set play to cause disruption, and that's what they get with it.
Working their way up. We're talking about this could be the toughest spot for them.
Yeah.
Right here on this corner. Very difficult, like you say. Big 6 getting ready to be there. Blase building up. Grab online from Color. Hex waiting, throws it down, locks him in. Don't have the transcendence to get the sound barrier, but Apply still going to be taken down. Shatter into the back, finds Hagelpin, finds Crits. And Boston Uprising will find the defensive hold. A minute and a half remaining here for Mayhem as Zephyr gets popped out.
He's staggered slightly here as well. The charge going to make it tougher for him to jump off the side. Then he gets stunned. That's the way to stagger a D.Va, the best possible way. And then he'll be killed at the last moment. The way that Fusion charges him as well, make sure he is not pinned, but knocked back. That's the sign of a really good Reinhardt player, is to be able to get that subtle difference there. Otherwise, you actually remove the stagger by killing the D.Va with your pin.
Yeah. Want to keep her alive as long as possible.
Very subtle stuff from Fusions there. Well, this is looking bad for the Mayhem. They've got to grab their support ults on the other side.
I mean, plethora of ultimates to work with right now for Mayhem. Just going to be lacking that sound barrier. Rally rolling, everything else online. 100 energy for BQB. And he put the team's damage on his back. Push them across that finish line.
I mean, the idea here is likely to force those support ultimates some other way, but they don't have tools. He's got the high energy, but look at how much damage he's already taken.
Pushes way forward, 70 HP. He's really playing with fire right now. They're trying desperately to keep him alive. Grab comes in. Transcendent's gonna be out. No bomb is there. He finds another double kill. Chris and Swan's gonna be taken down, and that'll be the cleanup.
Fusion
BQB and Zephyr just don't stand a chance.
makes it happen again. These charges we're seeing from Ryan's knocking the shield down, and then the bomb goes off. That should be the map.
Yeah, they get cleaned up. No one gonna be able to tag into force COT, so we'll just end right there. Very close to being able to finish Nambani, but Boston, they get the defense, they move up 2-0.
Very different styles from these two D.Va players, but it's the Canadian D.Va, Note, who's able to come out on top with these stats, with these bombs, with the help of Fusions. Good combos overall. Clean play from Boston Uprising.
A heavy case for player of the match there for Note. We'll see if he can get it. Maybe close out this series, so we'll see you guys after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
Boston Uprising are having their way with the Florida Mayhem so far in this one. Currently up 2-0 coming into halftime. Welcome back into the Blizzard Arena. I love these fans because they make noise every time I point to them. See how that works? We've got Zoe, we've got Bren. Yeah, it's you know, the Twitch delay. It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
We knew that this match was important for Boston. Florida only one win coming into today's matchup, but honestly, I expected this one to be a little bit closer than it was. And it started back on Control when the teams had two very different compositions. For Florida, you're running a Sombra. For Boston Uprising, you got your three main tanks, and they all did work on that Control map.
See, the thing is, I usually would like his Sombra, and I think BQB actually played really well. I don't think he really messed it up on the Sombra. I think it was the team not really backing him up. He had those big EMPs. 2 times he actually EMP'd 6 players, and there was no follow-up, really. Like, they didn't really play like there is a Sombra in their lineup whatsoever. They were very passive.
And with no Diva in the lineup for Florida, I mean, ColorX can just land these grabs over and over again.
Yeah, and I think that this is really just kind of Boston Uprising's bread and butter is going to be in their tank play most of the time. You're going to be paying attention to Fusions on the Reinhardt. This guy's the main caller, if you didn't already know. Every time we do an interview with him, he can't speak because he loses his voice. He is screaming on that stage. I mean, you guys in the audience can probably hear him as well as he's just popping off all the time. But it's always about the tank play. This is the main point that I'm always talking about. And you can see here, between Fusions and Swan, what an overwhelming difference. This is on the map 1 on Busan here. I mean, just look at the Fire Strike kills. He's going to be building up the Earth Shatters more consistently. His average time to ult is almost half of what Swan's is. And that's going to be from, again, the efficiency they're getting out of Color Hex's Graviton Surges. He can just swing into them and build up his ult time and time again.
7 Fire Strikes to 0. Pretty nice use of those.
That's the metric.
It helps when they're all held together in that graph. This Boston fan, by the way, was really fired up for Fusions in the match. And I got good news, because we got more Fusions plays coming your way. First, though, we got to talk about the Diva bombs that Note was dropping as we went to our second map. Florida almost pushed it to a third point, but Boston not only gets all 3 checkpoints, they do it with much faster time.
Yeah, I think they did a great job at doing those ult combinations. There was a lot of good communication coming out from Boston's side. And yeah, Fusions hitting those shatters, and then just Note doing his Note things, taking those great Diva bombs.
And I will say as well, I mean, we've been talking the positives on Boston, which is rightfully so because they're playing very well. But at the same time, this is avoidable almost by Florida Mayhem in terms of they just need to clean up a lot of their little plays. For example, in a lot of the Outer Strikes, like just here, like Swan's being left out to dry almost, a lot of their resources such as the Zarya bubble, the armor packs, are just being wasted in these team fights, and it's allowing Boston Uprising to just get away with absolute murder. And Fusions, you can see him, he's just having a wild game right now, and he's just taking advantage of the fact that Florida are just a little bit all over the place when it comes to their just general team play.
All right, I have to ask you guys, keys to victory here in the second half. What are we looking at?
I want the Mayhem to be a little bit more aggressive. If you get a good hack, or if you get anything really which looks like an opening, maybe use it once in a while. They play way too passive. It was all Boston's tempo, so they have to step it up.
Renji?
I completely agree with Zoe, honestly, because Boston are a team where they like to play with their set plays. If you can throw them off a little bit by essentially playing a little bit more aggressive into them, trying to upset sort of these set plays that they're allowed to set up because they're given so much space by Florida, that's how you really just get an edge over this team.
Boston's trying to get back to 500. They are 1 map from doing so. We'll find out if they can do it on the other side of this break.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very dominating start to this series from the Boston Uprising. Florida Mayhem, unfortunately, trailing behind 0-2 at the moment, losing on Busan, then on Numbani. Very close to being able to finish the map, but even then would have been in overtime and would have had to have held for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, you know, you really have to feel for this Florida squad. When you look at the squad last season, more Scandinavian, right?
Yep.
And there were issues with their level of mechanical skill, despite having some superstar players like Tavik in the past. But, I mean, for Florida right now, you expect them to be doing better than they are, and they just simply are not. Note, a player whose notoriety begins in the Overwatch League. Canadian player outclasses Zephyr on this map. Very different style. Triple the elims with the coordination between him and Fusions.
With
Zephyr,
that's
yeah, and Zephyr, when you look at his stats, you're not as impressive. Zephyr is by far the longer playing player. He was one of the more famous Korean players back all the way at the beginning of Overwatch history in Cloud9. And, you know, you would expect that that means something, right? Especially with a mostly Korean roster that Florida has now. And yet it doesn't. Boston comes up with these new superstar players gelling with the old. And so far, so good in this series.
Yeah, the talent scouting has been superb, it would seem. But here we go, third map, potentially decider here for the series. Florida Mayhem losing out on Busan already cost them their chance at the playoffs, so mathematically out of that one, but still try to turn things around.
Just to further this point, let's talk about the talent in Mayhem. We've got Tavik, not in play at the moment, former Rogue player, superstar. You've got Chris from Meta Athena, you've got Hagapun from GC Busan, Apex champion, Zephyr from Cloud9, Swan from Kongdu Panthera, BQB, Contenders Korea champion.
Saya player from Meta Athena.
Saya player from Meta Athena. This is a list of players that have so much experience in a very competitive league, and they just aren't cutting it. And we still don't know why.
We do not, and maybe we never will. For now, though, Boston, we know that they're going to be on the attack here to start things off. Horizon Lunar Colony, taking their time. Meeting them on the low ground already was Florida Mayhem, so a bit more aggro, maybe they heard. That's what he had said during the halftime. Try to get some more aggression out there. For now, though, routed up onto the high ground and try to poke, but Swan's gonna have to drop down. He's the only one, he's by himself, he's pushed over to the side. A lot of damage coming through, the pin is there onto Apply. Note almost getting popped out of the back, but he'll be quite all right in the end, it would seem. 2 members now, 3 gonna be gone for the Florida Mayhem. It's time to reset and get ready for B, rather. As Boston Uprising, they're in onto the point, they're not backing down.
In fact, they wish they could, you know when you press H and it says you must be in a spawn room to swap heroes, they wish they could have just teleported off at that point and not given more charge to the Uprising, because now we're looking at, with Hagapun not having a Transcend yet, you know, this tiny window where Uprising could pick him off in this fight or force the trance early if he gets it. And then they've got double big AoE ultimates that will not be easily shut down. Chris only halfway to a barrier. We live in a world where a double cap here is possible. It's not likely, but possible if Florida Mayhem makes any mistakes here, and I mean any.
Pushing their way forward. Shatter online now. Color X nearly getting picked off. Dangerously low, we'll start getting top back up. Swan going forward, getting
Great Shatter! That was a big one.
Catches 3, but they're not going to be able to find the kills yet. Transcendence got it from Hagapun. Crabs coming through, bombs are out. Nope, not going to be able to find anything. Now Zephyr going to be giving it a try. Picks off Fusions, and Boston Uprising will be held off. Florida Mayhem able to stabilize after a very nice shatter from Fusion.
That was a great Shatter from Fusions. They lose the fight. Great crisis management from Florida Mayhem. But it's a moment like that. Those are like it's not a shatter that wins you the team fight or anything like that, but it's a shatter where you could see Fusion's individual skill in that first-person view where he sees Swans around the pillar, and he takes his chance, no hesitation. It's not enough, though, and now the ult advantage they had has washed away as they attack the point again.
So a massive time bank, though, so Boston Uprising could go in for a couple eco pushes here, try to build up some ults, and then take it all in one fell swoop. So 5.5 minutes, still nothing to shake a stick at if you're the Florida Mayhem.
Fusion's just trying to pressure here from the side.
Pushing their way forward. A lot of members going low. Fusions as well, especially here in the front line. Well, that will just get picked off. Zephyr finds that kill. Retreat call comes in, but not everyone's going to make it out alive.
Very much a, eco push, as you said, which when we say that, there's some newer viewers out there, I know, Overwatch League. A lot of people watching, everyone's getting their friends in here. It basically means that you're pushing with the intent to build ultimates and using very few of your own, if any, at all. And now as they come back through here, we are going to have Color Hex with the grab. But it's tough, man, when they've already got Trance on the other side.
Yeah, locking him up right here onto the wall. Transcendence will come out from Aim God. Trying to get that pin, not going to be able to find a kill. Hagapun going to be matching. Answering grab now going to be coming through. However, the Transcendence is going to be expiring. It's going to be Hagapun taken down first. All other members going low. The rally from Apply desperately trying to keep them alive. So far seems to be working, but the Shatter will come through. Only catching BQB in the back. They'll push forward and will be able to take him down. So now no Zarya, no Reinhardt. There's a Fire Strike, claims another life. 2 ticks coming in, guaranteed. How much more can they get? Somebody's got to tag this. Apply will go forward, but he just gets melted down.
Yeah, they're just going to buy a little bit of time here, but that's all they're going to get.
Oh.
I mean, absolutely decisive play. 2 back-to-back for Fusions. The first one doesn't net them the point, but the second one, it's a solo Shatter, and that's all you need. No hesitation. He makes it happen, and that's going to be 2 caps for Boston.
Yep, 4 minutes even on the clock. Fantastic for them. Let's see what Florida can pull off when we come back for their attack. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Boston Uprising getting themselves an even 4 minutes after their attack here on Horizon. Gonna look at a replay of the end of this from Zephyr's perspective, because it seems like he might have flown a little too high to keep the point contested here at the end.
Yeah, it's going to cost them a few seconds. If you watch his self-destruct angle, he misses it. He's not on the point. Yeah. He's just out of the range.
Chris was off the point as well.
And that could have bought them a lot of time. It would not have saved them by any means, but we could be looking at a smaller time bank here for the Uprising, which, you know, these things seem small at the moment, but if we go into several rounds of extra rounds, then that becomes really important. A BQB cannot contest this while cloaked, but he's not going to do it until the last second. He's trying to draw attention away from the Uprising and then potentially get a pick. So he decloaks here, and that's going to force them back onto the point.
Instant push over, though. Can't stick on. Not going to be able to take up too much. He doesn't draw that much attention away, so Florida Mayhem still in this awkward spot here at the bottom of the stairs where they're not sure if they should go outside or just come up the staircase. Seems like staircase will be the call. Aim God going to be taken down. BQB finds that. Now Fusions as well going to be eliminated.
This is huge.
Yeah, this is absolutely massive for them. Color Hex taking so much damage. EMP going to be online. That's just going to be a taken. 7-minute time bank effectively for Florida Mayhem.
You know, it's in a lot of video games, you know, these cloaked units will be the ones that get you, right? They don't take the bait when he decloaks on the point, harasses. Then they decide, okay, look, he's over there. He's probably translocated. We're going to take this 6v5 fight. They collapse in, but they leave their Zenyatta behind. Aim God gets caught. Nice place. Now BQB's got the EMP for potentially a really nice setup here to grab ticks on the point. Here he comes from behind.
Yeah, pushing forward. EMP going to be coming through. Doesn't catch the supports, but catches everyone else.
Yeah.
Fusions and Color Hex both taken down. Note, Just now having that hack
This is
fire.
massive.
Yeah, they're ticking up. Second coming through. Nope, going to be popped out. Fusion's desperately swapping over onto the Wrecking Ball. They nearly have it. They do tag back in. Can they stabilize is the question. Kellex burned down. No healing in onto the point. AimGod is going to be offering up what little he can. And Florida Mayhem, what an answer.
Very impressive stuff from the Mayhem. We criticized BQB Sombra at the start of the series. Should they be running it? Flexing Zephyr over to the Zarya. This time he gets a critical pick on A, and the EMP secures them a better time bank on B.
Yeah, 2 minutes plus for them. Fantastically done. Let's see what happens in OT when we come back in 30. And here we go. What a turn of events. After we show a replay of Zephyr, not quite C9ing the point. You know, they were losing the fight anyway, but gets off, doesn't contest it to drain the clock further. They come back in and they beat the time bank by 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
It's funny you mentioned that, because if he's able to contest and then remech on the point, they get a few more staggering heroes out of the spawn. And then Boston Uprising might be at 330, 320 right now, and they'd have double the time bank.
Yeah.
They still have a lead, but it is important that we show that replay and talk about how much time extra was lost there.
Oh, for sure. I'm just saying, really great to see that didn't shatter them, you know? It wasn't a tilting moment.
Certainly not.
Let's come back in and just do better, and they did.
In their player games, they've been laughing and smiling throughout this series. They are definitely not down in the dumps, despite a pretty losing record here in Stage 1.
Well, working their way up top. They got one win under their belt. Could be worse, could be Valiant.
Well,
but shifting their way over, haven't quite made their way onto the point yet. Boston Uprising looking to match them on the high ground.
Nice knockback by Kellex that ruins the entire setup here. Now they should be able to contest the point, and that they do. They're going to force Mayhem to jump down.
Yep, ticking up. And halfway there, not being contested at the moment, so one ticket to be grabbed for free. Remember, this is overtime round, so every little inch means so much. Fusion's going low, however, will be taken down. BQB finds the kill. Note nearly popped out of the mech, and Blase will be eliminated. So 1.5 ticks effectively picked up by Boston on the first attack. Still just shy of 3 minutes in the time bank.
Yes.
For them to come back out, but now they're going to be dealing with some ultimates from Florida Mayhem.
That's right. The lack of support ults, which are tied neck and neck at 69 now for Kellex and AimGod, is, I mean, that's what they don't have, which is what they need in order to deal with this grab. So if this is committed by BQB, which he might not need it, but if he commits, this is already another push held, because there's just no counterplay outside of a defensive matrix absorbing the Graviton Surge, which is possible, but difficult to execute as the attacking team.
Kellex looking to disrupt them there. Down onto the low ground. Start ticking their way back up. Grabs online. BQB going to be looking for it. Nope, going to be looking to deny it. Still not seeing
He's out of
the
position
ult thrown
now.
yet. A lot of damage coming in. Nearly the second tick grab. Bubble's going to be coming through. Transcendence already going to be used by Hoggle, but Color Hex holding on to a grab of his own. BQB, you can tell he's not really feeling comfortable. In the shatter out from Swan's going to be quite nice. Bombs coming through. Nope, not going to be able to find anything. But no kills coming in. But as I say that, Caster Curse on the side of Florida, they'll lose out on 2. Boston Uprising have finally broken through. Will be able to get this cap on A. Bump themselves up just shy of 2 minutes in the time to try to get B, but ultimates burned on both sides. The snowball gonna be a bit rough.
We spoke about this in our previous series that we casted with Paris, with Shadowburn holding the grab too long, and then the enemy supports were able to build ultimates. This is a similar case to that. BQB looking for the best grab, and by the time he wanted to use it there, AimGod and Kellex already had their ultimates online. So a case of being too safe, being too patient there, cost them big.
Fusion's going low again, very aggressive. Up into that front line, Blase as well, nearly taken down, but Swan gets into a corner, and they're able to eliminate him. Now applying Chris also taken out. Zephyr trying to keep the point contested, but has to go ahead and push back to pick up that mini pack. Second tick going to be rolling through with a minute 20 still on the clock. Boston Uprising looking to close things out. Zephyr pushes back in, goes up top, Grab coming through, locks him up here on the corner. Looking for the finish on these kills. Responding Grab does come in from BQB, but there's just not any follow-up. God's got the Transcendence. And as they pushed him off the point, that will be the finish. A minute 4 on the clock for Boston as they complete their first half of overtime.
It's really important that they get it with a time bank. It is only a minute 4, but it's still a time bank. If it's 0, then there's no chance they close this series out right now because of the tie potential. It's very, very, very difficult to completely full hold the time bank of 6-10 that Florida holds at the moment. But there's still a chance that Boston could take this into a 3-0. It's going to have to be a long, drawn-out defense. And remember, we saw in the series with Paris, the Bastion Orisa defense, and we saw Shadowburn come out on Genji. We're not going to see anything like that for Boston Uprising because that strategy doesn't work against a team that has 6 minutes to prepare as the attacking team, counter, build a composition designed to destroy it. You only have 1 life basically as a defender, especially with a time bank like this. So you have to mirror defense with the Reinhardt Zarya and hope that you win the first fight and can continue to trade up in ultimates. The challenge here is going to be the X factor, which we saw on the previous attack, BQB's Sombra. The first EMP that he hit there on B hit before Kelix and AimGod had ultimates, so there was no real counterplay other than the spread on the point. You can't do that against a Ryan Zarya comp or you're going to get cut in half. So for the Uprising, the win condition here is to build better ultimates, and the support ultimates first before the EMP is so critical, because that's the best way to shut down what BQB is doing, because he's not going to run into Blase.
Yeah, BQB made his way into the back.
Seeing this again.
No, playing nearby. Don't think they're going to let AimGod get picked, like we saw happen last time.
This
Down
time they're going to...
low ground, he's starting to take us up.
Yeah, this time they're going to collapse on top of him. They're not going to let the support line get left behind.
He's still on the point at the moment. Rest of the squad fighting up top. Swan getting sunned up, taking so very low, shields up, but he managed to survive with a sliver of HP. Pushing their way into the back, the first tick going to be grabbed for free. The back cap there for BQB. So does punish them. Doesn't build up much in the way of the EMP, but just slightly over halfway.
Was a player called Arrow in Korea who did this a lot. Very, very popular in Korea to try to split a 3-3 team in half by having a fast-moving hero contest the point. Gets them only 1 tick, though.
Still better than nothing. Now going to be the actual commitment, it would seem, as they drop down. Get a lot of damage there on a fusion, but AimGod going to be picked off. Hagafun comes up with the kill right before the Transcendence would be online. This could be the breakthrough for Florida Mayhem. Hagafun going to be opening things up. Transcendence coming in advance of Color Hex, who does have that Graviton Surge ready to go.
Trans versus EMP here is super huge.
Stun up on the fusions, however, he'll be taken down now. No eliminated. Color Hex is going to be holding on to that grab, retreating.
Okay, they have both support ultimates now, but the problem is they're dealing with the Grav and the EMP. So this has to be a perfect defense if Boston hopes to somehow equalize this time bank. Remember, you want the Transcendence for the Grav, but you want it for the EMP also. That means Kelix cannot Sound Barrier too early. Sound Barrier gets deleted, Trance has to come out, and then the Grav comes through, you have no answer. There's a lot of tools the Florida Mayhem have right now, and it's up to the supports for the Uprising to make this happen.
Rally out, same time across both teams. AimGod going low. Will be all right. BQB jumps back. Nope, gonna be popped out of the back. Now no chance of denying away that grab from Zephyr when it does get thrown out. Speaking of which, there it's gonna be. Transcendence comes in from AimGod, helping to keep Fusions alive. EMP coming in on the back end of that one, but the secondary is gonna be good, and Kelix does nail it. Shielding up everybody, and Note is gonna be respawning, coming back through with that self-destruct online. Color Hex hacked out, but makes it into the back behind Fusion's shield to stay alive and get topped up. Bomb comes out, looking for a pick, not gonna find anything, but buys them some space. Shatter comes through.
This is incredible.
That's gonna be Swan taken down. Boston Uprising, they hold them back still.
I mean,
4 minutes to
absolutely
go.
nuts that they were able to do all of that perfectly, hold the support ults despite a losing fight, get the trance up in time, then have the sound barrier perfectly placed for Kelix there, who was hiding in the back. What a defense for Boston Uprising against all odds. They're gonna have to do it again here, but if they do, they equalize the time bank. What an impressive setup here High ground approach now for the Mayhem. Got to be careful, the Boston Uprising, of getting caught here by another EMP before that ult's ready. Aim got so close.
Aim God does have the Transcendence ready. Grab's going to be set from Zephyr. They'll get locked up. They'll just get taken down. Aim God does commit the Transcendence just to make sure that everybody survives this fight, though. So now, not going to have that for the next grab.
That's
Helix going to have to try to pick his poison with his sound barrier. Do you go for the EMP, do you go for the grab?
Exactly. But at the same time, it's up to the Mayhem to execute those two ultimates separately and stagger it. And to be fair, like, Helix might not have the sound barrier in time. He's not building it here because there's no one to heal. This is going to be a very tight defense if Boston can make this happen.
Grab around the back. Fusions comes in with a shatter. Not going to be able to find the pin, but Apply will still be taken down. Sound barrier from Chris is committed to the fight. Helix going to be eliminated, but now they lose out on Swan. Two frontliners gone. Boston Uprising. Some cheeky flank plays from Fusions. They come up with another defense.
Fusions and Uprising said, I'm not going to give you time to use your ult combo. I'm going to come out and meet you. You have to use the grab on the point. You have to use the EMP on the point. But Boston Uprising said, no, I'm going to fight you in this choke. I'm going to charge out and meet you. Worst case scenario, we can buy time on the defense, but I'm not going to give you the combo you want. Tough to do it here a second time because of the different approach angle for the Florida Mayhem, but what a clutch play.
Pushing their way through. Grab's going to be coming through, locking him up. Note does have the bomb. He's going to be shredded out of the mech. I believe he was hacked, so could not use that self-destruct. Pin coming in. Color Hex staying alive. Fusions, however, not able to say the same. Will be taken down. Second tick rolling through very swiftly for the Florida Mayhem. 1:43 still remaining. Color Hex going to be eliminated. God pops the Transcendence, moves off the point. Now Note is going to be taken down, and that will be the cap. 1:35.
What a hold, though. 5 minutes eliminated from the time bank. It was not easy, but they made decisive plays, and that's what you could say about Fusions. In his individual plays and in his shot calling, he makes the calls. He does these things that you don't expect, you don't see coming, and he does it at lightning speed, and it makes it so difficult. You have all the tools in the world as Florida. You've got the grab, you've got the EMP, you know there's only one support ultimate, and yet still you're fighting Boston Uprising off the point because Fusion makes the call. And that's the kind of stuff, these are the defenses that you see that, you know, we should be taking notes on. These are the defenses that teams that struggle with shot calling should be watching. Is sometimes decisive play can get you in trouble, but when you do it like Fusions does, I mean, suddenly this is a very winnable map for Boston.
I mean, you have to keep in mind that if this does come down to a draw, which is very possible given the limited time banks, Boston Uprising will just straight up win the series.
That's right. I've had a lot of that this week, actually, for some reason. We had a lot of one-sided series this week, so you do end up with the 3-0 scenario on Assault a lot, but or impossible to get the reverse after Assault on the third map, I should say. But if you look at the time banks here, if Boston gets a single tick, they feel great about it, but their win condition, as you say, is the draw on the defense.
Well, here we go. 1:04 on the clock. Boston Uprising going for the attack. How much can they get done? Every tick, every percent after that first tick.
They have to basically pull this. Florida does. Yeah. They want this series to be alive for them.
Precisely. And they are playing pretty far forward now, hiding back as quickly as they possibly can. Damage exploding forward. Boston Uprising going for the throat. Don't find any kills, but now they're in onto the point. Florida Mayhem, they have to re-aggress. One tick already going to be surrendered. How much do they give up for free? Looks like 58.2 is going to be the number. They work their way forward. Fire strike coming through. Swan trying to build up for that shatter. Trying to find a big one. Fusions has had so many during this series. Fusion's going to be taken down now. Imgod gets the Transcendence online, pops it immediately. Color Hex, same with the grab. Slams it down, looking for the kills. So far, staying alive, though, is the Mayhem. Answering grab coming out. BQB, no left energy's going to be here. Nope, doesn't manage to find Swan, but Zephyr answers back, gets Kellex with the bomb. Nope, in the back.
Great angle.
Finding Congo put, but Zephyr follows up for a double as he remix. Gets rid of Color Hex. Chris going to be taken down. It's an all-out scrappy brawl. Fusions comes in with the Wrecking Ball. Apply going lower and lower. They swing away. They take him out. They knock BQB off the point. Second tick getting ready to roll through. Zephyr contesting in the back, but will be popped out. Imgod gets another Transcendence online. Pile driver in. BQB falling lower and lower. Will be finished off. They might just be able to make this point happen. It seems like they will. Boston Uprising getting the cap on A.
If they're able to get B, it'll almost guarantee the map is theirs, because to take 2 points is insane, and it's just so difficult because even if Florida Mayhem is able to do both in overtime, if Boston Uprising gets both with overtime, they lose the series because it's a draw. So they cannot let this last push work. They have to defend just one more time, and then they've got a win condition.
Nice boop over to the side, trying to isolate Swan, but they cannot finish him off. They're just going to be spamming away straight into the sides of these guys, but Fusion's going to be taken down right as we hit overtime. Can they do it a second time? Can they try to extend this into another cap? It seems like this time is a bridge too far, as Aim God is also going to be eliminated. Fusion's going to swap back over onto that wrecking ball, but it's going to be Blase tagging in onto the point for a moment. The OT ticking down. Pile driver comes in, adaptive shield goes up, but the Hammond alone does not last long enough. It will tick down. No ticks gained.
Okay.
No percentage on B.
This is a map where there is now win condition for the Florida Mayhem, but it's not an easy one. They'll have to get the first tick on B in a minute and a half. They will have that 30-second buffer if they cap A. The scary part, though, the scary thing about this is they've been running the Sombra on A. That's been their attack both times. The first time it took a lot longer. The second, obviously, the quick double push there with the EMP. But I wonder now, is that worth trying? I think when you need to double cap for sure, and you have such a small time bank, you can't mess around with the Sombra. You've got to be looking at the Zarya, but Florida Mayhem disagrees. They will stick with the same strategy they've run now twice, a third time, and with 95 seconds, this has to be big.
Go ahead and take a look here at the replay. Push right out the night away from that sound barrier.
That's huge, because that could have been definitely something that helps turn things around.
Yep. So
now,
playing around with it, they've been shifting back and forth. Seems like there's some conversation happening between the teams, some indecision as to what they should do.
Yeah, that was, if you saw that slight flicker at the top of your screen, that's what Achilles is referring to. Is we did see they swapped Zarya, D.Va for a second, but they're committing. They do, as the gates open, run the Sombra. Let's see if Boston Uprising gets caught off guard by it again here, as BQB will cloak, tag the point. He's already been spotted.
Yep, they know exactly where he is now.
This is rough. They had to use the armor pack on him.
Good luck getting out of this
You
one.
can't Note spotting him out. He can't hide when Note is tracking him like that.
And he's been popped out again. Playing up onto the low ground, but they're still tracking him, so not falling for it this time.
This is rough for the Florida Mayhem.
Oh, getting ready to push up the staircase here. Good fire strike through Confusions. Building up where possible. Right from both sides, but they push forward. That's going to be Zaffer taking down Color Hex, finding the kill. Drop down, just playing it on the point, making sure there's no chance of any kind of back cap shenanigans.
BQB is just trying to throw his life away here on building an EMP, because that's what they feel like is going to break this point open now. But the problem is if he uses his EMP on A, he won't be able to use it on B, and they need the cap on that first tick on B, or the draw will lose them this series.
He's made his way over toward the point, playing into the back, trying to harass, taking a lot of damage. He
Third time
builds up for that EMP.
The third time is not the charm here for the Mayhem, it doesn't seem.
QB coming back out, 20% left to go for the EMP. One holding on to the Transcendence. Might have to use it sooner rather than later, because several members on this team going lower and lower. They're ticking up. Boston giving them a decent leash at the moment. 2 ticks nearly grabbed. That's going to be the Transcendence coming out. Nope, going to be focused out. It's lower and lower, but Aim God gets the Transcendence in, keeps him alive, and Applies going to be pinned. Fusions finds the kill. EMP coming in, but I think it's just too darn late. That'll be the sound barrier thrown in. Kellick's just keeping everybody else alive. The team wipe will be there. Boston Uprising will be able to close this out. Just with a tie, but with a 3-0.
This defense is not the defense you want to remember from this series. The defense you want to remember is the 5 minutes of time they ate off the clock on B. Fusion shot calling really shining through here.
Fantastically done. Netsum a 3-0 and the match victory. Florida Mayhem, one more chance to bring a map away when we come back from the break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by OMEN by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Boston Uprising able to take the series with a 3-0. Dorado, our last map to be played. Florida Mayhem going to be doing their damnedest to try to pick up a victory here to spare their blushes. Have already been eliminated from the playoffs, but still kind of want to ride out on a high note here at the end of the series.
Yeah, it's tough, man. So much adversity this season. The squad as a whole, you know, the org has had a tough inaugural season coming into stage 1 with a beefy, improved roster, and yet still can't find the wins. It must feel, I mean, we're talking about a roster of players who have insane experience, insane backgrounds, especially in Korea, versus a multinational roster that has overall like a more, you know, World Cup contenders background, right, across the world. And, you know, if we hadn't watched the rest of this stage, like if this was day 1, if this was match 1, you say, of course, Boston Uprising are the underdogs here, but that just simply hasn't been the case. They have really put this team together strong from start to finish in this stage. If they win this 4th map, it will tie them with Seoul Dynasty in the standings, and they have already won that head-to-head. So it puts them in a much better spot for potentially making those playoffs. So this 4-0 here does really matter for Boston Uprising, and getting that last win on Horizon rather than the tie victory for the series is important as well.
Well, not sticking through with the Symmetra for now, but they were short-lived.
Very short-lived.
Show me something. Okay, yeah, just gonna be a diva. They want the win. There are some implications, even though the series is already closed out. Boston Uprising getting this victory. The standings, very important. Closing this out with a 4-0. Tie them up alongside a Seoul Dynasty. They have that head-to-head.
Really
forward, very
aggressive
aggro.
play, yeah.
Fusion's, he's feeling it.
He's been feeling it all series. The scariest player is a player who's not afraid to just commit and be decisive in every moment, and that's exactly who Fusions is, excuse me. Not Fissions. That's a different thing, but
Yeah.
that's the opposite thing. But
A lot of free space here on the car, but the EMP going to be coming through. BQB throws that down. Doesn't catch too many members, but Fusions will be one of them, and does get eliminated. So some stability here for Florida Mayhem.
BQB, once again, reliant on this Sombra, looking for the aim god pick.
Ooh, taking him lower and lower, but
Not worth the risk.
yeah, I had the heal support there from Galax.
This is not BQB's style, actually, to harass the supports. It is to harass the tanks and build fast EMPs. You can see he only gets 22% from that last exchange. Not what you want.
Blase. Yep, just going to be taken down. Nice side angle, getting that crossfire.
That's one of the cool things about Sombra is you have a little bit of range damage, you have mobility in a comp that otherwise can't really focus on one player. Even if they're low, it's hard to get in there, but Sombra gets the angle, and BQB does make that pick happen finally here. But he's no really nearer to an EMP. It's just the final blow he got, but not much else.
Yeah, push to the basement. Coming around the side here. Zephyr going to be dropping down. Nice angle on the note. Defense Matrix has been used. Grab is going to be coming through. Zephyr taken down, however, so not there to follow up. Their main damage dealer now going to be gone. Shatter out from Fusions. Locks him up. And that's looking like that's going to be A as Hagelpun is taken for a ride. Imgod killing him in transit.
The EMP 4% away, that was the hold condition here for Mayhem, was to build that after delaying with the harass. That's why he was playing the harassment style rather than trying to just kind of farm EMP. And what I mean by that is just doing constant damage to the tanks, which cannot really avoid his damage from a safe distance. He doesn't get the EMP that was going to be what they wanted to use to hold A. And now that he's got it, sure, they can buy some time on the streets phase, but you want that for the contest of the point itself.
Push up the high ground. BQB spots out the entire team.
Including Kelix, who's trying to avoid him.
You can try to pop them with the EMP as soon as they come around that corner.
Yeah.
That seems like they will go ahead. They will drop down. Good for BQB for the setup. Straight up in front. He's making his presence known. He's not being sneaky right now.
Yep, just threatening the EMP is often stronger than the EMP itself because it forces Boston to back off. Kelix is just hiding right now, non-stop, because of this.
Gets the hack there on Nicola Hex. Nope, gonna be trying to open things up with a bomb, throws it in deep, but will not be able to find any picks. Sound barrier comes in from Chris. Fusion's gonna be taken down. Florida Mayhem Solid start to this next phase of Dorado.
This type of ult usage that we're seeing for Mayhem is super high level, where you're threatening the Shatter, you're threatening the EMP. It's something that, even though Note was heavily criticized for it, and there were a lot of jokes about it, he has done actually with Reaper on King's Row, for those who do remember that match. The threat of the Death Blossom, the threat of the damage forced his opponent's team to play around him. In this case, BQB on the other side is doing just that, because he wants to buy a lot of time, not just one big EMP for the fight, it's the threat. Look at this again, everyone has to back off. Look at how AimGod has to stagger his positioning, because he's like, if I get caught by this EMP, I can't trance.
Yep.
And then suddenly it's just a hack, and then Boston is staggered a little bit.
Well, pushing their way forward, taking their time with this one. BQB comes down, Calyx gonna get picked off now, No popped out. They don't have to use any of these ultimates, honestly. The pressure being applied here.
And put this
really great from Mayhem.
Put this VOD in the dictionary next to ult efficiency. Florida Mayhem is absolutely doing a ton with nothing. Just that threat again, looking for Calyx if he can.
And now that's going to be the EMP
Support
coming in.
ultimates.
It's both supports. Him got taken down. Cleanup comes through as Florida Mayhem pushes their way into the marketplace.
This is, you know, a Korean champion here, BQB. Rough start in the series. He's had his moments. We saw it on Horizon. But his positioning and threatening of Boston Uprising has bought them so much time. And when he does finally EMP, it's when he gets the support ultimates that Boston can't respond. And they still hold 4 ults.
Goes for another hack. Gets it there on the node. Grab's going to be coming through, locking them up. Bomb's coming out. For it, you would expect. Gonna find anything. Chris gonna be taken down by the pin. Calyx uses the sound barrier. Hagaput now gonna be eliminated. Fusions swinging it back in. Triple kill over to him as they clean up Florida Mayhem. It was so efficient up until that point, and then they get taken down.
Well, you know, it's crazy too, because they had a clear set play. If you go back and watch, BQB hacks Note, and then they toss in the grab. There's no defense matrix because the Diva's hacked, and they were so reliant on that play, but Boston Uprising just react better and come through with the support ults they have and win the fight through Fusion's decisive play on the front. Still a cool idea. The time bank is pretty low here though, and Mayhem are about to have another EMP online. Just not a secured B by any means for the Uprising.
Definitely defendable. Color Hex nearly getting picked off. EMP now going to be online. BQB
Note's backdooring this.
Here onto the low ground. Close enough. It's looking like it. Fusions gets a double with the fire strike. Apply and Hagaput both going to be taken down. The EMP still comes through. They knock Note out of the mech before he can use the self-destruct, but they don't find any other kills. As I say that, though, Swan drops the hammer, finds a massive shatter, but gets taken down before he can find any more kills, and the cart will quite pitifully still roll through into B. They get that cap, they bump up the time bank again, 1 minute and 35. It seemed like that was in the bag for Mayhem, but they lose just a few too many people. Health bars not topped up when they need to be. Boston keep going.
It's also the fact that the EMP comes through to set up the shatter, but now they don't have it to delay. That's big.
Well, still very aggro at the moment here for the Florida Mayhem, but this is going to cost them quite dearly. The cart will be able to advance. Swan only able to find AimGod, otherwise everybody else staying alive.
BQB, you know, he's just always sneaking around. He's always on the mind of the Uprising. Whenever you see Note spamming like this, he's actually just trying to find where BQB is hiding. And BQB's so far away now, he actually can't really build charge. And he dies when he tries for it. And that EMP is how they can stop C from being taken here.
Grab thrown in from above. Color Hex locking him up. Note, he's got the bomb straight in on top of him. Shatter coming through. Not going to lock anybody up. The Zephyr's still going to get popped. Looking for that pin. Comes through. Blase going to be taken down by Apply. Swan trying to play up front. Slowly getting healed back up. And the final hammer swing comes in for Fusions. Will be able to find him, but the cart's going to be halted. And Fusions, he is completely surrounded. He will be eliminated. Color Hex trying to trade a bit back, but does get taken down. Honestly, should have died a lot faster on the side of the Boston Uprising. There's 16 seconds remaining. Fusions has to swap back over onto the Wrecking Ball.
Suddenly a very similar scenario, but a smaller time bank than what we saw on B. Double support ultimates available for Uprising versus the EMP. Boston Uprising doesn't have time to get into perfect position, though. They have to tag the cart. Fusions will be the first.
Yeah, he makes it there, but the grab's going to be coming through. Zarya and Bubbles keep him alive for a little bit longer, but Hagaput in the end will be able to kill him off. Calyx nearly with the sound barrier online, but all that could change. EMP's going to be coming through. Transcendence now out from Hagaput. Sound barrier catching 3 of the members on the side of the Boston Uprising. Calyx, though, taken down as soon as the shield expires. Note loses out on the Mac. And just for good measure, Florida Mayhem just going to be dumping everything they got. They managed to get the hold. Now they need just a bit shy of a full push on Dorado to take this final map.
Yeah. Very much a showcasing of BQB's skill and the amount of coordination that this team has built around that. You know, sometimes when a Sombra doesn't really find the mark, it looks like, oh, this isn't the right move, this is the wrong play. But, you know, in this case, he does find the value. He does get that time bank down. Very well played.
Very nicely done. Let's go ahead and have a listen in with the Boston Uprising coming into Dorado. See what these guys
4-0 could put us
this
in
4-0
playoffs.
matters, actually.
This could put us in playoffs. Our map score, if we 4-0, is +2. If we lose here, it's 0. We need to win this map, okay?
Like we said, big implications on getting this 4-0. Fusion's making that known to the rest of his squad.
Yeah, Fusions is one of the brightest and most, I'd say, motivating shot callers we have in the league. He talks a lot, and he talks up his team, and he is decisive, and he talks... The funny thing about him is he talks fast, and he talks in such a way that you... I don't know, for me, when I listen back to his comms, I feel like you really believe what he's saying. You know, you really feel like, oh, this is it, like, we're doing this. And I think that's the kind of shot caller that this squad needs. You know, literally these 6 players on the starting 6 from all different places in the world. For the Boston Uprising to get that, you know, 4 and then tie with Seoul, the 4-0, they are going to have a good defense here, and it will once again be against BQB's Sombra, something they've been haunted by throughout this series. Shut down 3 times. We'll see if they can do it a 4th.
While playing up around the corner, fairly aggressively. We were talking about this before. High risk, high reward. Did not work out in the first series you and I covered, so.
No, certainly
not.
not.
We'll see how Boston handles it.
Color Hex is up here getting free pot shots, and Fusions is actually zoning everybody into this choke where Color Hex could just hit those right clicks. As soon as they round this corner, though, and they have the extra healing from the cart, for example, which is something we don't really talk about, but is this actually valuable? They have to back away and relinquish this high ground.
Just going to be playing back on the other side of this underpass. Trying to snipe out. He is doing a very good job of building up that Transcendence. Aim God lagging behind, just now hitting 50% compared to the 90.
Yeah.
The Mayhem Zenyatta.
Hogapun having that angle there on the right click through the attack gives him that big burst. He can actually use this to engage, and they might very well do that here to try to pick off the Zarya. We see this a lot when you know you're ahead, especially a BQB can get a hack.
Unable to do so far, but Fusions taking a beating at the moment here in the front line, just going to be taken down. Now Paze and Kelix all going to be gone. Florida Mayhem going to be able to surge forward. This might have just honestly gotten them a point A take straight up. And with Color Hex going down this late, I think, yes, they will go ahead and be able to finish this.
Yeah, 80% on this EMP. BQB far forward, just looking for anyone he can grab that final percentage with. Boston Uprising and Fusions make the call not to contest because it's too risky at this point, especially given how many ultimates Florida Mayhem have online. They could defend, get a wipe with minimal ultimates, and they don't even know that BQB's EMP is not ready. They could be reasonably assuming that it is. Again, watch Note trying to track where he is. That's all you can do against an invisible hero like Sombra. Note's just trying his best to hope that he can tag him, and then they can counterplay with the supports who are hiding indoors here. It's not ready yet. They don't know that, but it's so close. Okay, they find him.
Yep, very nicely done. As soon as he goes for that hack, instantly starts sniping him out, force him back with that translocator. He'll come back though, pushing up. Swan able to find the pin on the Blase. Fusion's gonna be taken down and Note knocked out of the mag, so Boston Uprising again gonna be suffering here. And Florida Mayhem don't have to use much, just gonna really be the rally coming in there. Graph,
and the EMP
built up now.
The EMP is the trump card here for the Mayhem. They get to hold that card in their hand. Aim God just around the corner here, trying to avoid getting hit by that still. But now they have the high ground, and they can control where Boston Uprising stand, and therefore get more value out of the EMP.
Grab gonna be coming through. Color Hex uses that. Hogaput matching with the Transcendence. EMP now gonna be thrown down. Kelix hacked out. Not able to stay alive. Down here onto the low ground, Aim God just gonna be topping up Note. Shatter comes in from Fusions here, but no one else is really there to follow up, it would seem. But as I do say that, Color Hex High energy with the Zarya, picks up a lot of these kills and forces back the Florida Mayhem. Still very healthy time bank for them.
Yeah, this is a very similar situation to when Fusion's made the call to attack on B on Horizon to bring the fight to the EMPing team. They did this again. BQB hits the EMP, but it's after Trance has been used, so you don't really get anything out of that. An EMP will delete sound barrier shields, but it will not stop the healing from a Transcendent, so there's not really a good follow-up there. So the EMP here, their trump card, it feels like they just threw it into the discard pile here with this one, because that was exactly what they needed to get this point secured. And now Boston Uprising control the high ground. They're forcing Mayhem to go all the way around the other side, and that's going to eat up valuable time.
A little bit of a standoff coming through here. We are just walkway to walkway, taking pot shots at each other. Florida Mayhem, they're the ones who have to get over to the cart, so they are going to be peeling away. Shot still coming through. Hagapun looking to get that Transcendence online again, ahead of AimGod in that regard.
Trying to snipe AimGod too if he can. Not going to happen, not on this right click.
Nope, going to be playing down around the cart, making sure there's not going to be any backdoor coming through. Bomb up over the top, looking for a pick and apply. Will be taken down by Blase and Colorhex. Instantly answered for. Fusion's locked up in that grab, but on the underside, so no one really able to get to the Reinhardt, but it seems like Florida Mayhem likely doing enough to push their way through to B and finish off the few remaining members that are here. Transcendence will be coming through from AimGod, keeping them topped up and allowing for the rest of the team to join in, but instantly the EMP comes in on the backside. Fusion's hacked out, cannot stay alive. Swan gets him with a fire strike. Now the Shatter going to be going down. Blase keeps himself safe. Colorhex, oh, a sliver of HP. He gets a bubble right at the last second. Zephyr nearly finishing him off, and as you say, the rally comes in, and Boston Uprising will be able to hold this out.
It's crazy how many scrappy fights Boston have been able to turn around. The rally there to make sure Colorhex lives with the bubble that came through as soon as he stood up to keep him alive. It's where the majority of that last part of the damage came through, and so much damage was wasted trying to focus him down. Zephyr's got another grab here. His last was a good one. This one has to connect if they want to complete this map.
Well, grab's going to be out from Colorhex first. Transcendence in from Hagapun. Sound barrier not going to be able to be used by Chris. He gets picked off. AimGod keeping them all alive. Swan going to be taken down. Colorhex gets himself a double kill. Suddenly, this is looking very dire for the Florida Mayhem. They had the momentum on their side. They were just in front of B. It seemed like they were going to be able to do it and have a decent time make the boot. But now, with 35 seconds remaining, Boston Uprising are looking to get that 4-0.
It looks very likely at this point. The lack of a diva means Colorhex can put his grabs where he wants them. BQB is hacking Note to set up the grabs for Zephyr, but they're late. The timing is better, more decisive. Fusion's shot calling, showing through a lot more here. BQB has the EMP, it's the playmaker. Kelix, if he can get that barrier, they might be able to lock up the 4-0. That's all the Mayhem's got right now. No other tools, and already Zephyr's dead.
Sound barrier's gonna be out, Fusion's taken out, however, so decent trade back for the Florida Mayhem as they try to keep things rolling. Shield's gonna be expiring now. Chris going lower and lower. The bomb out from Note, not gonna be able to find anything. Cart started to inch forward. Kelix waiting around the side. He knows that this EMP is ready. He knows he needs to nail this sound barrier. Now AimGod's gonna have the Transcendence on low. They're gonna be stacking both ultimates together. They all hit the ground, but they all stand back up alive. Pin comes in, however, Swan gets rid of Blase. Note knocked down to the Mac. Trying to stay alive. Fusion's throwing in that fire strike, trying to get that Shatter online, but he'll be killed before he can get the pin. BQB finishing off the dregs of Boston Uprising. They will be able to push through here in the end. They sacrifice all of their ults for this.
The hope is alive, Achilleos. Both support ultimates stacked is not what you ever really want, but actually the pin play from Swan through the healing there is the secured kill they get on Blase to prevent the third support ultimate, the rally, from coming through. That's a huge moment. That's what opens this up for Florida Mayhem. And BQB in the longer fight builds 60% of another EMP. There is still hope.
Rally's gonna be out. Shatter online for Fusions, and they have a grab as well. 58 seconds. Boston wanting to hold these ultimates as long as possible. Wait till that time bank is down. Sweep them. And then just make sure no one can tag the card. BQB trying to build up. They're trying to scout him out. He's on the low ground. They find him, and BQB's gonna get picked off. AimGod finds the kill.
Really tough situation here now for Florida Mayhem. That's their most important piece of the chessboard right now. It's the Sombra, it's the EMP.
Fly drops down. He's by himself. Chris is there as well. Swan charging into the back. A bit of a disconnect coming through. Grab gonna be thrown down there, and Colorhex doesn't find anything, but they do manage to get rid of Hagapun. So still a crucial pick off. The cart will start advancing again. Back over to the front, though. Boston Uprising still in control of the situation.
It's a long overtime push if they're going to get it to win this map. Someone will have to touch as well, and they don't have a diva. This is going to be tough.
Somebody's got to get there.
Swan
pushing forward. They can't boop him back.
BQB's looking for it. He's looking for it.
He's around the side. EMP ready to go. Gets pushed over to the side. AimGod gets a Transcendence off, and now Swan's going to be taken down. Another fantastic play from AimGod. Might have just sealed the deal in favor of the Boston Uprising to get the 4-0 victory. Florida Mayhem, though, trying to scrape back a victory. The Shatter comes in. Houston locks him up. Nope gets the kill on the Chris with a bomb. And this should be the finish as Hogoput's Transcendence expires. There's a couple members left to go. Apply and Zephyr trying to stay alive. The grab comes in, locking up the members of the Boston Uprising, but they need a miracle to try to turn this one around. The sound barrier shields are there. Swan nails the fat Shatter, but it's not going to be enough. He can't kill them off by himself. Boston Uprising, they get the victory. They get the 4-0.
What they were looking for. Fusions made the call at the beginning of the map. We want this 4-0. It's so much better for our scoreline. Now tied with Seoul Dynasty, but ahead in terms of direct comparison. There is a road for this team to the grand finals. It's not an easy one, and it's no longer really up to them as to whether they get there. But if they do go to playoffs, you can bet teams will be afraid. They will fear the shot calling of Fusions, the decisive play we see on his Reinhardt. Boston Uprising are definitely still a formidable team here in the 2019 season.
I mean, they certainly are. You really have to, I mean, they were playing very well. I'm not trying to throw shade at the Shanghai Dragons, but with a lack of fusions there, does become a bit more questionable, just given the level of performance that we have seen from this team from time to time. We'll go ahead and take a look at the standings and see where they land now. Inching above Dynasty on the cusp of making it into playoffs, just behind the charge.
It's a lot of this is going to have to do with them winning their final series. Then you have to look at what happens around the bottom of the top 8, where their indicator points stand. That's why these fourth maps, I know fourth map Resonant Sleep for the series is already over, is a lot of what you guys think about that fourth map, but at the end of the day, that fourth map is often the decider. Without that fourth map win, they sit in 10th place behind the Dynasty just because of one map differential point. So these things are absolutely critical.
Let's go ahead and just flip back through the memory book, because this seems like so long ago. Horizon was such a long map that we had. It seemed like Florida Mayhem were starting to come online, might have been able to get that victory, try to turn things around. And given how close Serato was, if they had momentum from a Horizon victory going into that final escort map, maybe we would be looking at a map 5 right now.
It's crazy when you look at the 6-minute 10 time bank here. And, you know, looking at the beginning part of this highlight, you might be thinking, fan at home, like, how did they bring this back? It was just really good defense. They bought a ton of time. They were super efficient. In a fight where BQB had EMP, Zephyr had Graviton Surge, Fusions came out to meet them outside of the point, and that was perhaps the MVP moment for Fusions this entire series, was to make that call. Down on ultimates, they bought time. They come back to win the map. Incredible.
Yeah, and then just moving on to Dorado. So more great shatters coming through from mid. This is the double fire strike. We kind of saw it the wide angle, closing it out. But guys, let's go ahead and just go straight into our player of the match, presented by OMEN by HP, and it is Fusions.
No shocker here.
Yeah.
I mean, he and Note together ruled Numbani with ult combos, and Note had a great start as well to the series on Busan. But in general, it's not just about these shatters under the card, the angles he's finding, but it's also about the shot calling aspect, keeping his team pumped up, and also making these big calls like, let's fight off the point, let's find this engage, let's avoid the EMP. He is the captain of this ship, and he certainly sailed them to that 4-0.
I mean, 36 fire strike kills out of 44 final blows. That's pretty good, as well as 34 Earth Shatter stuns. He was putting up the numbers. We already saw another Reinhardt earlier today, nearly picking up 50,000 damage. He nearly doing the same right there. Fusion's got to be feeling pretty darn good at the end of that. He was pushing for the team to get across that 4-0 finish line. They were able to do it on the back of his shot calling. So congratulations to the Boston Uprising. Unfortunately for the Florida Mayhem, eliminated from playoff contention. But guys, we're not done yet. We got one more match.
It's a good one.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be the Titans going up against the Hunters. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. UberX is going to be bringing you that action in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.